Good morning, and welcome to another episode of A Conversation with Father Orsi. I'm B.C. Cloutier, Chairman of the Board of Action for Life, and this is Father Michael Orsi. How are you this morning, Father?
Marvelous.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Father, do you know about the organization called the Florida Citizens Alliance?
Yeah, they're a great organization. As a matter of fact, I know the head honcho, Keith Law, and my friend, Pastor Rick Stevens. And you know what they do? They are kind of like guardians of our children regarding their education.
Do a great job,
Yeah,
too.
and you know, in the government schools, and then giving options, you know, regarding private education, and even mini schools that,
Yeah.
you know, how parents can teach a group of kids on their own. We have so many options in this state of Florida. I mean, Governor DeSantis has done a great job, in my opinion, for education, because parents can now make choices where they want to send their children to school. As a matter of fact, he even gives $8,700 a year.
$8,700 per kid.
Per kid, and you go to a private school, and the private schools are packed. So, you know, I've been on this theme a long time. We need more private schools, especially we need more Catholic schools. We need more Christian schools. So if you are some, you know, major honcho out there, do what I'm telling you to do, please.
Well, Florida Citizens Alliance, we're back to talking about artificial intelligence, and I'm sure that you folks in the audience are saying, are these guys ever going to talk about anything? But this is a different take on AI. Okay, I'd like, if I may, to present you with a hypothetical situation.
Right. I put on my propeller hat. What hat did I put on?
The little beanie with the
little
propeller.
beanie, all
There you
right.
go. So Susie comes home from school, and she tells her parents that she's been assigned her own personal buddy named Marybot. Now, Marybot has amazing abilities. She can assess Susie's baseline academic level, and she began to tutor Susie to vastly and quickly improve her skills in reading and math. Beautiful, right? And Marybot can constantly assess Susie's physical health and her mental health, and alert you if there are any issues or concerns. All of this is really intriguing, isn't it, Father? And it seems to be a great opportunity for Susie. Would you
It
agree?
seems to be. I mean, I could take the first part of it, you know, help with the math homework.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I had this guy named Bernie Conberry trying to help me do my math homework. My father paid a tutor. Didn't do me much good, but if he evaluated me psychologically, I mean, I don't know, you know, what that would have been like.
Up to this point, I think this sounds pretty good. When I was reading it, I thought, wow, that's really cool. And it could have helped me pass algebra. But anyway, here are some questions about Marybot that you'd want to ask. What moral compass does she have?
Yeah,
What and whose values is she teaching?
right.
Who sees all of the data that Marybot collects, and what can be done with that data?
Yeah.
Scary, right? Who monitors what Marybot tells Susie, and what authority do the parents have to intercede? How will this affect Susie's view of her family and other relationships? And what if you decide you don't want Marybot in your daughter's life? Can you opt out? The answer is yes. However, if you opt out, now Susie becomes one of the slowest learners in her class, and she's constantly ridiculed by her classmates and perhaps by her teachers. But if you opt in, Susie could view Marybot as an all-knowing, godlike authority, and with values that we don't know are appropriate for Susie.
Okay, I gotta get right into this right now.
Let me do one more thing. This is not science
angry already.
fiction.
I'm depressed now.
This is not science fiction. This is going on in Florida schools today.
Holy cow, folks. Poor Father O is agitated. All right, let me just say this. There may be apps that can help you to learn, okay, whatever the case may be. However, I don't believe they can ever take the place of a human being in helping you to learn, especially if this Marybot is evaluating your psychological and emotional and educational state. All right? Maybe it'll say, you know, how educable are you? Now, I go back to my struggles with mathematics. Now, I had Bernie, and Bernie was a great guy, and if my whole academic career was based on my mathematical achievement, they may have put me in a school for special education. I'm serious. I mean, could this stay with you your whole life that you're marked as,
I think it could.
a slow learner, all right? And that you need special care because you're not going to go any further in life. Now, I get my report card and it was like, a lot of good stuff, mostly good stuff until it came to the math stuff. And then it was like blank. Now, why was I so bad at it? I didn't see the use for it. And I was told...
You didn't apply yourself.
I mean, I didn't. I didn't. And we had, a couple of... I had this math teacher. I was in a prep school, and they were all like pretty smart guys in prep school. And we had the same teacher 3 years straight. He was a nice guy, but I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't care what he was talking about. So he says, you go sit in the back of the room, and you could do whatever you want. So I did. I read books, and I brought magazines. Especially Sports Illustrated, they had this certain issue that I liked a lot. Now, all right, but if you just limit it to that and, his evaluation of my academic performance, I may have been pigeonholed for the rest of my life as, a slow learner.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if Marybot can take in the whole picture of the person, the girl that she is assigned to teach. Now, this brings another problem up, and I'm sure that, Florida Citizens Alliance is concerned about this. What about the role of parents? Who's monitoring what Marybot is saying? And that's why parents have to be on top of their children's education. And no matter what school they go to, I don't care if they're going to the greatest Catholic school in the world or they're going to the worst government school in the world, you have to know not just what the kid is learning, but who is doing the teaching. So you might go have somebody that say, well, this guy is a great math teacher, but this guy may very well be a nut. And, all of a sudden, teachers become like heroes to kids. And this guy, in the midst of his teaching about algebra, trigonometry, whatever the case may be spewing forth other things that the child says, oh, if he believes that, oh, he said that, then I should do the same.
Well, we're seeing that in higher education already.
Already?
All these woke universities, we don't even want to go there because we're talking about something different. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. What I think, if I understand correctly, what Florida Citizens Alliance would like to see is, Marybot can teach reading and math, period, full stop. Mm-hmm. Right? Marybot doesn't need to provide opinions of this, that,
right,
and the other thing because it's Marybot.
Right.
And I can't imagine you could have a classroom without a teacher, regardless of how many chatbots you have. Right? So the teacher can evaluate the students, but you know that I love technology. Truly, I think if I had a chatbot teach me algebra one-on-one, I would have been pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. The teacher didn't have time. There were 30 kids in the room. So the issue I think that Florida Citizens Alliance is concerned with, rightfully so, is that this thing could run amok.
Right. Well, BC, it's not just what the thing is teaching, the subject matter the thing is teaching, what other information is being fed
and
to the bot.
What's being done with it.
Yes, yeah. Yes. I mean, I would just imagine, because this AI can, we say, collect a tremendous amount of data from things we're not even aware of. And just perhaps, you're talking to this bot and maybe you're looking at it, like Zoom, and looking at a person that looks like a human being. And this bot is looking at your room and is, what do you have on the wall? They take that into consideration. How are you dressed? Take that into consideration. Or undressed. Take that into consideration. And all this data is being collected. Is your mother home? Is your father home? Can they help you to figure out this equation? What do you think about, let's just take it down. What do you think about slavery? Good or bad? You see, and that can pick up a tremendous amount of information from you and about you. And the way a question is asked, sometimes you might fall into the trap of giving a wrong answer or a bad answer.
Police detectives can tell you about that.
Yeah.
That there's a way to ask a question to elicit.
Right. So this thing is collecting a tremendous amount of data on you. And I think that, without parents' involvement in this, even if you just say, this is only teaching, X's and Y's, I think you have to pay close attention to what is being taught. The other thing is this. I don't think that a bot can teach you critical thinking. I don't think they can teach you critical thinking. And that means for you to begin to evaluate things on your own. And the more you get into these technologies, the more you're going to have critical thinking to say, is this true?
Right.
Is this good? Should I do this? What do I need to help me to grow academically, intellectually, socially, spiritually? Life is a lot more than the X's and Y's. I had wonderful teachers. I learned from them because they were good people. I had a few clinkers. I mean,
We all did.
we all did. But if your bot turns out to be a clinker, you're going to be a clunk. How do you like that? I just made that up, folks.
Well, that's pretty obvious. Switching gears a little bit, it occurred to me just in the past few days, I guess, preparing for this program. Many of us were educated by nuns.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those nuns had nothing more than a high school education.
Right.
And yet they provided a marvelous, there are very few people who will tell you that they didn't get a good education
Yeah.
if they went to Catholic school.
That's right.
Isn't that amazing that these dedicated women went into the convent when most of them were 17, 18 years old, and they learned a vocation, either teaching or nursing or whatever. But they were great teachers
Yep.
because they related to the kids.
Yeah.
They really cared.
Yeah. I could remember some of these girls, they would go into the convent, they were 18 years old.
Yeah.
They'd put them into a classroom, practically, 6 months out of the novitiate, and they would teach first grade, second grade, kindergarten, whatever it was. And then I could still remember them taking a bus to go get some college courses in education to help them. And it was just a fantastic thing. And they could take on a bunch of kids. I think I had 60 boys in my class.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
60 boys. And sister could control the 60 boys
Well,
and teach. And she herself, didn't only had a couple of college courses. But, it was their example.
well, that and that ruler.
And that really, I got to admit that.
Billy, put your hand out. But sister,
And then one I really didn't like is I had black tape on my mouth, a big long red tongue, because they didn't shut up.
They
But
were
I
great
learned.
teachers.
I learned, and then they were nice. There was one, she's still alive, but she must be in her 80s now. Sister Mary Laura, I was in love with her.
They were great teachers. They just, so we're off the subject, but
But you need that human being in there. That's what education, you learn from human interaction. And you can go back, I could say, I was about my trouble with mathematics again. And I could say, yeah, I hated that subject, but I liked the teacher. He was a nice guy. He could have done me a lot of damage, but he never did. When I was ordained, he showed up at the ordination.
Really?
Yeah. He said, I always liked you. I said, I always liked you too.
well, my personal experience going through, grammar school and by 7th grade, I went to public school, left parochial school, went to public school. But the teachers that liked what they were doing got a lot better results
Right.
than the teachers that were phoning it in.
Right. Yeah. And, as you said, you have to have a moral person teaching. And I am a little concerned, that we're going to have AI teaching our kids. You might say it's only numbers, it's only facts. No, it's not. It's a lot more than that. It's the person behind it, the way we interact with that person, and also the way the facts are presented. And sometimes the facts are skewed. For instance, the 1619 Project. I mean, the way they tried to, say that the United States was founded because of the slaves arriving in 1619 in Virginia, and that's the foundation of the United States. I mean, if that's it is being taught in schools, that's the narrative being put out by the media. Well, could you imagine these bots teaching that, and how scrambled do the kids come out?
Well,
it never happened in 16. It was like made up. It's admitted that it's made up, but they still spew forth that it was made up, but it was good.
Imagine what the bots could make up.
Exactly.
We've got a video that I thought we would insert into the show that talks a little more about Florida Citizens Alliance and what they are attempting to accomplish. And after that, they're actually doing a symposium, so we'll talk about that.
Are you
too.
paying close attention to AI in education? Because we are, and as AI becomes more prevalent in school, the dangers AI learning tools pose against the future of education here in America is not only anti-federalist, it has the potential to completely destroy the family unit as we know it. Imagine this. Your 5-year-old daughter or granddaughter, let's call her Susie, comes home and says her school has assigned her a new electronic buddy. Susie names her new electronic buddy Marybot. But worry not, concerned citizen, because your child's school has sent you an infomercial to completely ease all of your discomfort about why Marybot is such an active part of your child's education. Thank you for accessing Marybot. Marybot has excellent academic capabilities as a learning tool for your student. Marybot can access Susie's baseline academic level and begin to tutor her in reading and math so that she can quickly improve her skills. But the future of Marybot is so much more. Marybot is designed to monitor Susie's physical and mental health constantly and will alert you with any issues or concerns. Marybot can and will share Susie's data with third parties, including school staff and medical professionals. Marybot is designed to know your child better than you do. As a parent, you might have some basic questions about Marybot, but I assure you, the school is here to help. Important questions like, what moral compass does Marybot have? What standards of physical and mental health does Marybot have? What values is she teaching your children? These are very valuable questions about how AI learning tools like Marybot will affect Susie's relationships with her family and loved ones moving forward. But we assure you, if you decide that AI learning tools are not helpful for your family, you can opt out. However, it might come at a cost for Susie. She won't be able to keep up with her classmates, and she might be ridiculed or bullied or looked down upon for being the slowest learner in her class. But we assure you, we have a special group for students like that, so they don't feel left out. Welcome to the future in education. And before you know it, every public school student will be like Susie with an electronic buddy. But Marybot won't be the future for Florida families if FLCA has anything to say about it. We are partnering with over 15 organizations to host a series of symposiums for education and policy pertaining to AI. Our first event starts September 26th in Lake Wales, Florida, and I hope to see you there.
November 6th is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get up close and personal with Lara Trump, a prominent political figure, television personality on Fox News, and a dedicated advocate for family and conservative values. Enjoy elegance, education, and enlightenment as Action for Life presents the Golden Age Gala. Watch Lara Trump and Father Michael Orsi engage in a highly anticipated dialogue on stage at the beautiful Naples Grand Beach Resort. Make your reservation now for the Golden Age Gala featuring Lara Trump, Thursday, November 6th. The Golden Age Gala promises to be an evening to remember as we gather to recognize and uphold the sanctity of life. We'll get back to a conversation with Father Orsi in just a moment. But right now, I'd like to talk to you about the cost of producing and airing this television program, which amounts to about $3,000 per episode. Now that includes the production costs and the airtime, but $150,000 a year is a pretty big hill to climb. And I'm here to ask for your help. We think that you enjoy the program, at least that's what we hear. The board of directors believes that this is a very good investment. I hope you feel that way too, obviously.
What I'd ask for is that you consider contributing to actionforlife.org. You can go online, you can contribute once, you can contribute on a monthly basis, and we are more than glad for either. Whatever's appropriate in your circumstances. But again, please go to actionforlife.org and make a tax-deductible contribution to keep a conversation with Father Orsi on the air. Thank you so much, and God bless to you and yours.
So, Father, there's a symposium called Artificial Intelligence in Education. It's going to be next Friday at New Hope Ministries.
Hey, New Hope's a great church. Great
Yes, it
church.
is.
My friend, Pastor Thigpen, he's pastor over there. It's a great church.
So Friday, 5 to 8 p.m. at New Hope. And there are a number of speakers. If you want to know more about this, the Florida Citizens Alliance website is goflca.org, goflca.org, and you can find out about the symposium. I think it's a very worthwhile thing. If you're a parent or grandparent, you need to know what's going on in the schools.
You do.
And these chatbots could rapidly get out of control.
You're darn tootin' they can get out of control, because it's not just that the kid is using this in school, but they're bringing it home too. And it's like having a stranger in your house. I mean, who are you bringing into this house?
Well, how about if you have multiple kids with multiple Mary bots, right? And now you're getting conflicting signals about moral issues, and it's, this is a very slippery slope.
It really, really is. And, Mary Bodley says not just going to teach mathematics or history, but, reading, what's the interpretation of literature, civics,
That's a good point, the interpretation angle.
Yeah. How does the world operate? How does the country operate? What are the rules and regulations regarding civics? Governor DeSantis made sure that civics is put back in the schools. What is America? What is our government system? What is democracy? What's a republic? What's the job of the judiciary and the legislature and all those things? And suppose you're getting some bad information about that.
Well, something just popped into my head, and that is, spend an hour on Fox News, and then spend an hour on CNN, same day, okay, back-to-back hours. So the news overall is the same. What you get on Fox and what you get on CNN, you wouldn't even know you're in the same place.
Right. And what they choose to put on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And chatbots would be more of that.
Right.
Right. I think Florida Citizens Alliance is, as you pointed out at the beginning of the show, is on top of education issues in the state of Florida. And Father and I are both big fans of that organization and of the founders, Keith Flaw and Pastor Rick Stevens. And so I think this is something that really everybody needs to pay attention to, because at some point it may go beyond the school boards to perhaps a referendum.
Yeah. I wonder, I talked about this a little bit on Sunday, a couple of weeks ago. And I was concerned about, you remember that horrible, horrible shooting in Minnesota where that
the Catholic Church
person shot these kids in the Catholic Church during Mass, and people say, mentally ill and all that stuff. Well, I think it was demonic. I really think it was demonic. And there was a story reported that the older children were taught to take care of the younger children. And a 10-year-old boy dove on top of an 8-year-old boy, protect him from the bullets. And that little boy took a bullet.
A 10-year-old, right?
10-year-old took a bullet in the back. So, what you have to do is to say, what is being communicated to to children? What are their responsibilities to other children, to other people? Altruism, to be willing to sacrifice yourself for somebody else. And I said to the people, is this being taught in the schools? Obviously, it was taught in that Catholic school in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Is it being taught in our Catholic schools, in our Christian schools? And I said, and go and ask the school board if it's being taught in the government schools. Let me know. Tell them that Father O wants to know if this is being taught. How many people involved in school board work? And, a lot of these members of school boards, they're well-intentioned people. How up are they on AI? You better get up on this stuff. What's being taught in the classroom regarding the use of AI? Are you conferring with parents regarding how AI is being used in the classroom, or is it part of their homework? Are you bringing MaryBot into your bedroom at night when you're doing your homework? Or remember sitting around the kitchen table doing your homework?
Yep.
Yeah. And my mother knew, what I was doing, where I was, what I was studying. Most of the time I was doing punish lessons, right? I got to keep my mouth shut 500 times. But she knew. And she also was able to help me when, I was having a problem with something. And, we were talking about, sometimes you have some people that they don't have, advanced degrees or any degree at all. And yet they're smart people. They know the basics of citizenship. They understand the basics of mathematics. My mother had to leave school in second year of high school because her father died. Mm. And at 16 years old, she went to work in a factory to make money for the family, right? But she was a smart lady. She had a good vocabulary. She knew her civics, and she was able to help me read and write. Now, folks, sometimes parents out there, you think, well, I'm not qualified. I'm not a professional. Yes, you are. You're a professional parent. That's what you should be. And you should be trying to help your children to learn. You know more than you think you know. As a matter of fact, you know what's best for your child. My mother would say to me, I know you better than you know yourself. And she did. She knew what I was going to do before I did it. And I got punished in advance.
One more reminder, the Florida Citizens Alliance Artificial Intelligence in Education Symposium this coming Friday night, 5 to 8 p.m. at New Hope Ministries. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for being with us every week. We'll be here next week, same place, same time. Until then, I'm Beeson Cloutier. Have a great week, and God bless.